Hello everyone, I am Sandeep Kaushik from Genesis Mentors Pune, and today in this video we would be discussing CET workshop Visual Reasoning 5. So let's see the type of questions that we are going to discuss in this workshop. First, reading the directions for question number 1 to 10, it says that each of the following questions consists of two sets of figures. Figure A, B, C, D constitute the problem set, while figures 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 constitute the answer set. There is a definite relationship between figures A and B. Establish a similar relationship between figures C and D by selecting a suitable figure from the answer set that would replace the question mark in figure D. It means these kind of questions are called as analogies in visual reasoning. So we need to establish the analogy. It means there is a definite relationship between A and B, and the same relationship has to be established between C and one of the answer figures, which should be replaced instead of question mark, right? Now let's try to understand the shortcut. The first thing that I observed in the answer figures is that either the orientation of this half shaded leaf is different, or if it is same also, then either the joint or the inner part is shaded or the outer part is shaded, right? So those two which are same in orientation also, either the inner part is shaded or the outer part is shaded. It means what we need to do is that we don't need to concentrate on the unshaded leaf. We need to concentrate only on the shaded leaf. Now let's try to see what is happening to the shaded leaf. Now shaded leaf is first of all rotating 45 degrees in anti-clockwise direction and then 90 degrees in anti-clockwise direction. It means total 135 degrees rotation in anti-clockwise direction. So same thing should happen here in anti-clockwise direction. First it should rotate by 45 degrees and then 90 degrees. It means it should definitely be pointing in this direction. It means shaded pointing in this direction would be either 3 or 5, depends upon whether the inner part is shaded or the outer part is shaded. Now clearly here in both of the cases the inner part is being shaded. So here also in both the cases inner part would be shaded, and if inner part is shaded then definitely my correct answer would come out to be a figure number 3. So taking it ahead to the next question. Now second question talks about square. There is one square and 3 circles, and in the next frame, which is B, they have changed their locations. It means instead of square becomes 1 circle, and now instead of 3 circles there are 3 squares. So again this triangle and this L would again interchange their places, that is there would be one L only. Now only one L in this position was there only in one of the answer options, right? So I don't need to even check it out, but still if you check it out there are 3 triangles. It means my correct answer is going to be frame number 1. Now moving on to the third problem. Now in third problem my initial reaction first is that the 3 dots are same, right? Our shaded part are same, but definitely these 3 lines are definitely reflected about x-axis. It means their water image is taken, right? But then if I take the water image of this, it would be exactly same figure which is not there in any of the answer options. So then I realized that this is not reflection, this is rotating this figure by 180 degrees. Also I will get the same figure. So here also I would rotate this figure by 180 degrees, only these 2 lines, and hence my correct answer is going to be 3. So sometimes you will be confused between reflection and rotation. So if reflection is not working, you need to look at rotations, and if rotations are not working, you need to look at reflections, right? Now moving on to problem number 4. Problem number 4, when I realized it out that definitely these 2 parallel lines, one of them is smaller, the other is bigger, would definitely move to the diagonally opposite one, and the smaller part was inner, here the larger line is inner, right? So they have interchanged their positions also. It means this dotted line and this circle also would first shift to this place which is diagonally opposite, and the dotted line is going to be inside and the circle is going to be outside. Now the dotted line inside and circle outside, out of among all the answer options, is only in answer option 2. So you just need to get that logic, right? Now once this logic is correct, you can even check the other logic, but my correct answer would definitely be answer number 2. So don't try to recheck it more than once if you have got a particular answer from one logic, right? Because speed is very, very critical in CET. Now moving on to question number 5. Now in question number 5, I clearly saw that what is happening is that from A to B, this arrow is definitely moving closer towards the shaded part. So moving closer towards the shaded part, right? it means the shaded circle and unshaded circle, the arrow from A to B is moving towards the shaded circle and is not changing in the direction. It means the arrow is pointing towards the shaded part only. So now let's try to see, the arrow is pointing towards the shaded part, so arrow should keep pointing towards the shaded part and move towards the shaded part. Now let's see where is it happening. Here the arrow is pointing away from the shaded part. No, it is not correct. Here also the arrow is pointing away from the shaded part. No, it is not correct. Here the arrow is pointing towards the shaded part, but this arrow has moved closer to the unshaded part, right? I want arrow to move closer to the shaded part. This is also not correct. Again here this arrow is moving away from the shaded part, right? So my correct answer has to be figure number 5, because here the arrow was pointing towards the shaded part also and it has moved closer to the shaded part also. So it means these things, again rotation you can check it out, but that is obviously not required because the arrow has given me a clue and has definitely helped me out to get my correct answer. Now moving on to the next question, which is question number 6. So moving on to question number 6. Let us clearly talk about these three figures are exactly similar to these three figures, only they have moved towards the right side, and first of all this trapezium where the smaller side is top and the larger side is at the bottom moves to the middle place and it is inverted. It means the larger side is at the top now and the smaller side is at the bottom. So again this trapezium which was at the same position would definitely move to the middle, and now this time the smaller part is at the bottom, larger part is at the top, so it will be inverted and the top part will be small and the bottom part will be larger. It means 1, 2, 3. These three can be, any of these three can be among my correct answer options. Now moving on to the pin, right? Now this pin was pointing in this direction and definitely this pin has moved in 90 degrees clockwise direction, right? So it has moved 90 degree in clockwise direction. So here my pin also should move 90 degree in clockwise direction. It means my pin should definitely be pointing in this direction. So pin pointing in this direction is either of these two answers, right? So in these two answers both of these figures are same, right? So this dot is going to make things clearer for us. Now this dot, when I see, it is also going to move 1, that is 90 degrees and 45 degrees. It means this is definitely moving, 135 degrees in anti-clockwise direction. So here also it should move 90 and 45, which is 135 degrees total in anti-clockwise direction. It means it should be at this position, and hence my correct answer is going to be figure number 3 and not figure number 5, because these two things were same, but here it should dot should be at 135 degrees in anti-clockwise direction. Now moving on to problem number 7. Now when we move on to problem number 7, we clearly see that figure A and B, they are mirror images of each other. And the catch was that in A and B, both the smaller rectangles doesn't have any of the diagonal lines, right? But in this figure C, both these larger rectangle and the smaller rectangle will have a diagonal lines, right? And the diagonal line is making a V. So the mirror image of this would look like answer frame number 3, because the V should also be made, right? Among 2 and 3, don't get confused, because in 2 both these lines are parallel. So I want the diagonal lines which are going to make V, and not the diagonal lines should be parallel, right? So correct answer frame is going to be frame number 3, because it is a clear mirror image of C. Now moving on to problem number 8. Clearly we see first of all the pentagon is inverted, right? So here also the pentagon should invert. It means the pentagon should be pointing towards this direction, north direction. So A, that is 1, 3 and 5. Now clearly that object which is outside comes inside, sticks to the top side, and definitely its lower part is unshaded. So here also it should definitely stick to the top side, which is the pointed one, and definitely its lower part is unshaded, right? So it means my correct answer is going to be figure number 1, and none of the other figures is going to be in this. The top part is unshaded and the bottom part is shaded. I want the top part to be shaded and bottom part to be unshaded. It means my correct answer is going to be frame number 1. Now moving on to the 9th problem. Moving on to the 9th problem, first we see that this arrow which was pointing in this direction, it definitely shifts its position to the top, and its mirror image has been taken. It means it points in opposite direction now. So from here also this arrow was pointing in this direction, it should definitely go to the bottom side and it should now be pointing in this direction. It means my correct answer is either frame number 1, 2, 4 or 5. Now understand, only frame number 3 is eliminated, right? So if frame number 3 is only eliminated, it means this line and this circle in frame number 3, and my correct answer should be at the same position, because the arrow would only be the deciding factor for that. So clearly it looks like that the figure number 4 should be my correct answer option. Let's try to see the logic also. Line as well as circle, both of them are moving in clockwise 2 places. Both of them are moving in clockwise 2 places, right? So my circle should also move clockwise 2 places. It means circle should be here, line should be here, circle here, line here, circle here, line here. Obviously I told you out that my correct answer should have been 4th only. So these are the kind of shortcuts that you need to definitely look in CET. Now 10th problem, our last problem talks about, again what happens is that first of all this image, right, these two images are exactly same, they are just changing their positions. So they both of them are changing their position to one place in clockwise, right? So what happens is that they are moving in clockwise direction. So here also they would clearly be moving in clockwise direction. It means this object should be here and arrow should be here. Now what happens to this object when it moves one place to clockwise? Its water image is being taken exactly. So here also when it moves to in this direction, its water image would be taken. So if its water image would be taken, either I would get figure number 2 or I would get figure number 4. Now figure number 2 and figure number 4 can only be differentiated on the basis of arrow pointing top or arrow pointing bottom. So when I see that this arrow has moved to one place here, right, this arrow when it moves to one place here, its water image is being taken, right? It means it is inverting, changing its direction. So this also when it moves to clockwise direction, it will be pointing up and then it will be changing its direction. And if it is changing in its direction, it will be pointing down. So it would be pointing down. Now both these were pointing inwards or outwards, right? So in the same direction, so you don't need to check out in which direction it was facing. Just top or bottom would help you out to differentiate between these two answer options 2 and 4. So my correct answer is going to be 4. Again I repeat why, because this definitely goes to one place and then when it is inverted, the arrow should point down. So this is a collection of 10 questions which were based on analogies. Now in the subsequent video, we would be coming up with 10 more questions based on analogies. So keep on liking our video, keep on sharing it, and for new updates, for new videos, keep on subscribing to our channel, right? So thank you very much.